Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Hold the Ball HTB. Hope you all. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate it very much. Look, if you're new, don't forget to do all that good stuff there. How do you look? I want to try and approach this topic in a way that's probably meaningful, giving you guys a little meat, right? I'm sure for those of us who love eating burgers, you don't really like eating a burger that doesn't have enough meat, enough substance. You normally go for something that's, obviously quite substancy, a lot of meat, basically. We sort of dive into this, and I want to give you guys an emotional sort of a position, and maybe one where I'm trying to critically think what's going on here. But before I do, hit that intro. Alright guys, so yes, it's been reported, it's happened. The Warriors have a cancelled schedule regarding going back to New Zealand. Obviously things were looking very lovely considering the, regarding round 15, as we were going to host the Penrith Panthers, and next minute, not so much. COVID-19, and yes, this is a COVID-19 subject. COVID-19 has dictated the very fabric of where the Warriors should be, basically, from New Zealand anyway. It's been a real, it's been a real blessing that Australia, the NRL have been able to cater to New Zealand, to the New Zealand Warriors, and obviously helping us and sort of accommodating to us and our needs and our players' needs, and I'm thankful for that. However, when the opportunity came for New Zealand to actually be able to potentially go back and play even last year, and it didn't happen. Just what an absolutely devastating and cruel blow. Alas, fast forward, and obviously there's all the optimism. Mind you, Warriors haven't played in Mount Smart since 2019, in August, right? My Warriors, the last time I've actually watched them play in New Zealand. A lot has happened since then. And you might even be able to argue and say that a lot hasn't happened since then regarding the Warriors' results. But the point being, the Warriors are, still here in Australia. Obviously, a lot of questions can be asked. And again, I don't want this to be political, but you can't help but almost angle it that way, I believe anyway. It doesn't matter your stance on COVID-19 or your stance on the vaccine. The point being, though, is that you have players from the New Zealand Warriors camp, and I'm sure those Australian players too, who actually generally want to go back and play in New Zealand. The Warriors have been a victim, in my opinion, of a very harsh sort of a stance from the New Zealand government. And again, like I said, I'm not here to name names. I'm just here to tell you what's happened. Many a times fans have been promised tickets and golden drums and the fire and the joy of being able to watch the boys play in Mount Smart, and again, lo and behold, not the case. The Warriors are staring down the barrel of potentially not even playing in New Zealand at all this year. And last year we thought it was a reality, and even more so this year, and turns out that it's not. I don't know what you have to do as an individual regarding getting the vaccine, particularly those who've had the booster, which I'm sure is a lot of NRL players. I don't have the stats with me. But in the context of the New Zealand Warriors, they sort of go over, or more so they wanted to go over to New Zealand, where it's 95% vaccine, vaccinated people, so to speak. And yet, still, the borders remain closed. Again, it's not a political rant as much as it is just a rant of just bring the boys home, for crying out loud. It doesn't matter what sort of party or stance you stand with, who you think is right, who you think is wrong, anti or pro. I think this is beyond this right now. It's about looking at a government that really needs to bring the boys home. Fans, members, the board, I'm sure, the players themselves are probably just absolutely hoping that they can play. And again, cancelled It's not fair. What is the stance that the New Zealand government has, and why is it so much to the detriment of the New Zealand Warriors? I understand if the Warriors went there, it'd be great, but then they've got to do the isolation period, and then obviously that goes for the opposition as well, and it just mucks things up. That's the reason why Cameron George came out and said it's just probably not feasible. And though you may look at it and say it's a long time to sort of have the stance, it's COVID-19. Let's not sort of joke around. Let's not kid ourselves. This is a COVID-19 is basically a virus that is basically, in my opinion, dictated, just like I said before the start, dictated where the Warriors can and can't be. The NRL for that matter. And again, it's not to undersell the seriousness of this, nor is it to side with either side really. The point being, it is a serious virus. People are taking it seriously. You got to respect that, understand. But when you're doing the vaccines, when you're doing that stuff there, surely there should be a chance for an open border. You just can't keep opening, then shutting, opening, then shutting. It's getting a little bit tiring. And again, it's like I said, it's so hard to try and navigate your way through this without trying to make this political, and it's not political. Like I said, the undertone theme is just bring the boys home. My thought though is always with the playing group, the boys, how do they feel? What's going through their minds, their heads? Sean Johnson as well, right? Had a post on Instagram and obviously got a huge sort of a following and a lot of backup and positive sort of thoughts on it, which was good. But ultimately, it's come down to nothing because the Warriors are probably looking at not playing again. Which brings me to the other side of the coin. One that probably a lot of people may find controversial, but given the current context and situation and the fact that I just don't believe COVID-19 is going away anytime soon, should the Warriors honestly make Queensland or New South Wales, wherever it is they stay, should they make it a permanent stay? A permanent base? And I'm sure you're looking there, rolling your eyes, potentially either agree with me or disagree. But the point though is that if we stay here again, you know very well we're going to be staying here the year after and the year after that. And again, I'm not trying to make this a pro or anti-COVID-19 thing. But surely, regardless of where your stance is, surely you got to think enough is enough. There needs to be some sort of flexible reality. And like I said, you're probably looking at me and you think, well, if the citizens got to do it, the players do too. Okay, fair enough, I suppose. But then I question, the whole point of the vaccinations regarding being protected and regarding that freedom that you're allowed to have access to when you've been vaccinated. Again, in the context of the Warriors, surely they can be able to go in. They're athletes too, for crying out loud, right? So they should be the strongest to be able to fight against this. But again, as per usual, the boys are not allowed to go. I can't imagine what it's like being a person in New Zealand, a Warriors fan in New Zealand, just absolutely hoping that they come and to have this false news, all this news happen and then for it to be false and like a continual sort of a circus show. I can't imagine what's going through the minds of you fans there in New Zealand who are just wanting to see the boys play. My heart generally goes out to you from a sporting context, from a Warriors family context. It sucks. But again, I go back to what I said prior. Should the Warriors seriously stay in Australia? I'm being serious. I get it. Obviously, short term, this probably sounds silly, but the reality is just what if the boys can't go home anytime soon? And by anytime soon, I mean next year or the year after that. Sure, you wait, but then by then, you might even argue and say that probably the zest, the flame is gone, the flame has died. Potentially. Anyway, I guess this is just more so my thoughts on it. I think it's crap. It's rubbish. I'm personally fed up with it. My only drawback or conclusion to this really is that the Warriors probably end up staying in Australia. Whether you like it or not, You know, 2019, the last time. And obviously 2020 when they played the Knights, so on and so forth. As we know, the Warriors found out, I believe, probably either midway through the game, the Warriors found out during halftime, or just a bit before or after. But the point being, that's when, for the Warriors as an organization, as a club, and part of our history, it changed forever. I sit here and I just reflect, and I understand Cameron George is putting on a brave face, but just how devastating is it? Will the New Zealand Warriors ever go back to New Zealand? Anyway, you guys tell me what your thoughts are. Obviously, this is mine. And like I said, disclaimer, it's not a political rant. It doesn't matter where you stand, what side you're on. Again, just let you guys know, I'm vaccinated, all right? So again, just letting you guys know, it doesn't matter about where I stand, where you stand. Not the point. The point is surely enough is enough. Anyway, give me your thoughts, your views. I'd appreciate it. Take it easy. And yeah, look, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I guess just regarding the Warriors, it's tough. And look, I want to say this might sound a bit cliche. Maybe not cliche, but yeah, the New Zealand government, man. Got to learn to hold the ball. I'm telling you. See you guys later. Take it easy.